Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is yet another interview by Project Cargo Weekly, and our special guest of honor today is Mr. Kristian Korsvik, representative of Mitsui OSK Kinkai in Singapore. First of all, welcome, Kristian.
Thank you very much, Bo, and it's great to see you, even though it's online this time.
Yes, we have to do something about that, and I hope we can certainly meet soon again, face to face. As you know, with all of my, let's say, accused or interviewees, I always start by giving them a chance to explain a little bit about their background. You're from Norway. How does a Norwegian man end up in shipping, and how does he end up in Singapore? Can you give us an explanation, please?
So I'm from a very small island in the west coast of Norway, 2,500 people. And that island is, the sea is a natural part of it. So ocean has always been a field I wanted to go into. But before I started in shipping, I did some years as a professional soldier, where I also worked, was with the Norwegian Armed Forces, where I also was sent overseas to Afghanistan and Kosovo.
Wow.
After that, I started with my business degree and took a master in business with focus on shipping. Mm-hmm. And after I finished my master degree, I was lucky to get selected for the Norwegian Business Association. They had a maritime trainee program. Mm-hmm. And this trainee program that wanted you to try a different field of shipping. So I was half a year with the Norwegian Shipping Bank, half a year in commercial position for Höegh in Dubai, and then for Höegh in Oslo, in different positions from LNG to car carriers, and within all the fields in the company. So that should give you a good fundament to start in shipping, because when you finish school, you think you can you know everything, but in the end, when you start working, you notice that nothing works like you think. Exactly. So you just have to start again.
I know all about it. Yes.
So I had a few years with Höegh in Oslo after my program. It was a 2 years program, and then I continued with them. Focus on the Far East business. They had to set up different new business trades and develop business for them. And through business development, I met a company that was setting up in Singapore. Mm-hmm. They were focused in wind carrier business. So I started with them. That's how I ended up in Singapore. And later I helped a Norwegian owner to set up an office there. We also had a joint venture in KL, so I had a couple of years up in KL. And then in 2013, I set up an office for Mitsui OSK Kinkai in Singapore. So that's been 7+ years.
Wow, that's a fantastic career, Kristian. And I would like to say it's good to know you, because if you've been in the army and you've been to Afghanistan, sometimes I have some advertisers who don't pay. Maybe I can call you for assistance. Then you have some friends, right?
Yeah, of course we have.
Joke aside, Mitsui, of course, from my perspective, I know the alligator sign and Mitsui OSK lines, mainly from the container trade, but try and explain a little bit about MOSK Kinkai, especially the last name Kinkai. Can you explain the origins of the company, your focus, and the type of service that you run in shipping at the moment?
Yeah, so we are part of the whole MOL group. So okay. MOL is one of the top ship owners in the world. And they have many different divisions. And our company is what they call Kinkai, means near sea. So that means the shorter service. Traditional Kinkai business was within Japan. First, it started as domestic trade, and then it was from Japan to Southeast Asia. And later we have developed to Middle East, India, Australia. But so service within today is in whole Asia and Australia.
Okay. And the type of ships you have, they are geared up to how much you can lift. Tell us a little bit about the tonnage you have in place.
Kinkai have today around 40 vessels. It's a mix of single deckers and twin deckers, mainly twin deckers. Our twin deckers are geared up to 150 tons gear,
Okay.
fully boxed, and very good for generally project cargos up to 150 tons.
Okay.
We do a big variety of project cargos. Our fundament is, of course, steel trade from Japan.
Yeah.
But we top up with all type of project cargos. That could be Shinkansen trained, or it can be trafos, or it could be generators. We have done a lot of plants here lately, factory setups into Singapore, into Dubai, Indonesia, Philippines, Hong Kong. Yeah, so it's a variety within the project market.
Right.
Cargos.
So would you call MOSK or Mitsui OSK Kinkai, would you call it, let's say, a liner service, or is it a tramp only that you cover that part of the region of the world with a lot of ships? So it in effect becomes like a liner because you have so many ships in the same region. How would you define your service in that way?
From Far East to Southeast Asia, we have quite a few liners, okay. Because every month we load maybe 20, 25 vessels from Far East to Southeast Asia range. A little bit less today, maybe around 20. Okay. So then you become almost a liner in that sense. And then we do both do call inducement calls, so we can do some tramping, but we are not like the typical European MPP carriers that is tramping around. Right. We have very much long-term contracts. We have a very big book of commitments when it comes to cargo, so we're quite long on cargo. And we have a lot of trading routes, but within those trading routes, you have a good chance to work with both liner cargos and with the inducement cargos.
Okay. Yeah, it's of course being Japanese MOL is certainly well known and one of the big three, and I suspect, or I would assume that since in Japan most business is very long term, that you have really some stable base cargo, base customers there that kind of support this service from the beginning, isn't it?
Correct, definitely, and steel products, especially out of Japan, that is our bread and butter or core for business.
Right, right. And are you also able to do transshipment? Let's say you have some cargo, some project cargo that is destined for, let's say, an off-route destination. Can it be loaded on your vessel, and would you have then transshipment hubs, or let's say to outports where you don't always call? In that case, which hubs do you normally use for transshipment? Is that a fixed place?
Definitely, we can do. And if it's confirmed that both cargos, or if we have both loading and charging ports, we can also give liner rates. So we have done many transshipments in the past, also for like WWL and others, where they have come in with the Ro-Ro vessels to Singapore, and then we have taken it from Singapore to other smaller ports they are not serving themselves. Okay. So yeah, we can definitely assist with transshipment in the region, in Asia, and or prefer ports to do transshipments is normally then Singapore or Malaysia, because those are the ones that we have bigger volumes moving through, so easier to make sure.
How do you see Australia is, of course, a little bit the odd man out. It's part of Asia, but in some way it's also still quite far away. Do you call there regularly? Would that be direct out of Northeast Asia down to Australia, or again, would it be in transshipment regularly?
So we have a service down to West Australia.
Okay.
So we call there every bi-monthly.
Okay.
And then these days it tend to be directly from Far East to West Australia, so we are not connected it with Southeast Asia. Okay. At the moment, it's been full with cargoes from Far East, but this we can look at if they have bigger parcels they want from Southeast Asia to West Australia.
Yeah, I'm mainly thinking, you know, the mining industry, oil and gas. Of course, now it's a little bit down, but traditionally, Northwest Australia for the mining has been pretty big, and I would suspect that you certainly call there from time to time.
Yeah, and that's or consignee for our shipments into West Australia too. Correct.
Ah, yes. Right.
And then other markets you see, India for us is an important market.
Okay.
Myanmar is interesting market. The whole Southeast Asia, Indonesia is growing active. Thailand, Philippines, Taiwan, Hong Kong. It's all very active countries where we serve. I think last year and early this year we had 6-7 vessels a month coming into Indonesia. A lot of project cargoes coming in.
Yeah, that's interesting because sometimes the short sea, even is a short distance, it can sometimes be more difficult to handle. It seems like on the deep sea, there are much more choices than short sea. For example, I know since I'm network chairman of some freight forwarders that when they have project cargo, say from China to India, sometimes it's difficult to find alternative and they are not so keen on using some unreliable Chinese owners that are from different provinces there. But you would also be able to call and do project cargo from China to India, for example.
Yes. So if any of your listeners have any cargoes within Asia, they can send over to us. I mean, at least we can see if we can assist them. And India, both China and India is big markets for us.
Okay, good to hear. How have you structured it rate-wise? Do you need to get the okay from Tokyo for any rates, or do you have regional power to decide the rates as you see fit?
So here in Southeast Asia, we can decide the rates for Southeast Asia. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I recall from the old days, at least traditionally, Tokyo would have the last word on everything, but I guess they have decentralized.
Some parts, at least.
Yeah, some parts. Not the salaries, only the rates. Yeah, well, maybe it comes sometime, Kristian. And tell me, this whole COVID pandemic.
We are, of course, have many networks around in the region. So we try to synchronize very much because one thing that we are very focused on is that you have many freight forwarders in your networks, and we very want to make sure that each freight forwarder get the same rates.
Yeah.
We contact our Thailand office, or we contact our Korea office, or Japan office, or Singapore office. Yeah. The net rate to owner should be the same. So we try to coordinate very well between our offices to make sure that we are synchronized with what the level we're giving on the rates.
Yeah, that's very good you say so, because you actually preempted one of my questions that the forwarder cannot really shop around anymore, and you have made a level playing field, so the same inquiry gets the same rate from various offices. There's no difference, so to speak. So
and then two different freight forwarders getting the same rate without any preference who is.
That's good to hear. Tell me, this COVID, this stupid virus crisis, pandemic as we call it, hovering over the world, has it also affected your shipping business, or are you, as some container ship owners, praising the happy days at the moment? How is it for you?
So MOL have merged out, fission out their container part to one.
Yes.
So we not have any container business left in MOL. And for Kinkai, one of our biggest market is steel for the car industry. Oh. So it's Japanese steel that goes to car plants in Southeast Asia. Okay. And this has been hit volume-wise because of car plants has been closed for a period. Oh. And also that the car sales was very low during the global lockdown. We see the volumes coming back again, but the core product steel was down for a period there. In addition, we have a lot of operational issues. I think all ship owners have. It's to do crew change. Crew shouldn't be too long aboard, and to be able to do crew change when most of the countries are locked down or there are no flights available. Yeah. So that has been our operational challenge, to make sure that you are take good care of the seafarers and the heroes that is keeping our vessels moving. Yeah. And then during the different countries' lockdown, you have also a lot of challenges where cargoes are ready at the factory, but they're not able to get permits maybe for the truck, or the truckers are not allowed to move around, or it's the factory is delayed because they are doing half production shift. So we had during the Southeast Asia worst period, then there was many cargoes that had to be moved, got delayed because of the lockdown. I would say now it's starting to normalize, and December seems quite active, so we are positive for next year. And now hopefully all this government, the printing money is coming out and will give good project in infrastructure and other boosting the economy generally. And I believe Asia now, if you look at the COVID numbers, is quite on the lower side compared to Europe and Americas. So hopefully Asia will come out of this running, and we will have a very active and good growth for the next year. But of course, it's challenging for most industries. I think the shipping is maybe not been the worst affected industry, because we can still do our job and do our products, and things still need to move. So end of the year, it's not the worst industry to be compared to being in airline industry.
Right. No, it's. I can say from my perspective here, I'm sitting in Sweden, and of course the Swedish government always knows best, no matter what it is. But especially regarding virus, we are standing out here with I think 7,000 dead compared to Norway, Denmark, and Finland with less than 1,000 almost. So. Yeah, who knows the truth? But fact is, it has certainly hampered travel and business otherwise. For the container carriers now, of course, it's happy days. But unfortunately, I didn't buy any shares when they were low. I should have done, but it's always like that after the fact, right?
Yeah. Hindsight is
hindsight. 2020. Well, listen, Kristian, how do you find living in Singapore? It is a small place. Some people would call it a small, let's say, unreal place. But I suppose it's a pleasant place to be as an expat, right?
Yeah, it is, for sure. And I've been here 12 years, and I like Singapore very much.
Yeah.
However, if you're staying in Singapore during lockdown and pandemic, not my favorite place. Then I'd rather be in the west coast of Norway, where you barely have people around and a lot of mountains and hiking, or nature you can move around without getting infected with the virus. But it's a good place to do business from, and a good place to sit from Southeast Asia and Asia to have an overview in the market. Okay. However, it tend to be a little bit. You used to travel a lot when you live in Singapore, and that is not happening now during COVID. So I'm looking forward to the borders open again. But Singapore has been smart, having a lot of parks. So we have it's not the worst city in the world to be locked down. So we have a lot of greenery that can be out in.
Right. And of course, being such with a geographical location and thousands of shipping people, I mean, you have to be careful what you talk about there, also in the bar, because the guy next door, he's working for the competitor, I suppose. So.
And Singapore, for sure, has become one of the number one, or at least top 3 shipping hubs in the world now.
Yes, now they've been very good at attracting foreign people to work there. Very, very good, Kristian. And how do you see? Of course, it's difficult to predict about the future, but how do you see yourself? You are on an open-ended contract, or is it so that you have to be nice once a year to Japan, or you do a good job
every day?
Every day, every day it must be nice. Yes. Of course, it sounds like my marriage, actually.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, exactly. Happy wife, happy life.
For me, Asia is where I see the best growth in the world. If you compare to all the statistics, it's Asia where it happens, and most people live in Asia.
Yeah.
So, and I like to be where the action happens and where the things are moving. So I'm pretty sure I will be in Asia for a long time forward, and Singapore is a natural part of it.
Yeah, no, but you have also the right age. You still have many years to go. So I'm closing to 60 now. So I'm slowly coming back to my roots, as they say. But that's really good, Kristian, and really a pleasure that you've had time to answer clearly and concisely. So I can say basically to all our viewers, listeners, and readers around the world that if they have an inquiry for Mitsui OSK Kinkai for Southeast Asia, Intra-Asia, Australia, India trade, you certainly would be a good alternative to ask. And they can ask you directly in Singapore, right?
Yes, you send it to me, and if it's other part of the, if it's a ro-ro car carrier or they need also, I will send them over to the right person. So
okay, of course, you that's right. Mitsui OSK has a big ro-ro division, which is of course also good to know. Sometimes there are combinations. Sometimes you need ro-ro, and sometimes you need break bulk, and both. And you have both actually. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have something called the ML project and heavy lift.
Oh yeah.
So we trying to work close between all the different groups to see synergies and help the clients. So see if there's any way we can, if the MPP side is not a good match for it, is the car carrier side or is it the other side of the business that can assist on the inquiries. So we try to have a good dialogue internal to help out the clients.
Very good. Excellent, Kristian. So I want to say formally many thanks to you for having answered clearly, concisely, and you do look like a happy man in Singapore. So officially, thank you very much, Kristian.
Thank you very much, Bo, and great to see you again.
Okay, thank you. And of course, to all our listeners, viewers, readers around the world, this was yet another great interview by Project Cargo Weekly, and I hope you also liked it, with renowned Mitsui OSK Kinkai in Singapore, Mr. Kristian Korsvik there, who told us an interesting story. Stay tuned for more interviews in the year to come, and wishing you all the best. Thank you.